Oh, hello. Shenhe has come and gone, and I have been enjoying her from all sorts of angles, but that's not here nor there because I have been using her as a physical DPS, just the way I want her to be. Let's take a look at how that beatdown went down. I played with a few teams and will tell you some of the teams I had success with. The first one relies on the team's sub DPS providing a healthy amount of damage, for example, Shenhe Taser. Let's break it down. When it comes to this team, Shenhe maintains some supportability with her passive talent, Spirit Communion Seal, to help buff her supporting sub-DPS characters when going through their rotation. With Shenhe Taser, you rely on survivability through freezing and opt out of a dedicated healer for more damage. It also makes good use of the Superconduct reaction to do more physical damage. All team members have pretty standard builds: sub DPS Shinshou, 4-piece Emblem, or like me, 2-piece Hydro, 2-piece Noblesse. Fish has the 4-piece Tenacity for more support, and Beidou has a 2-piece Glad, 2-piece Electro. You are free to replace either Fish or Beidou with Diona or Layla if you need more cryo energy for Shenhe. Usually Beidou, cause you don't usually need 2 shielders. Up to you. With Taser, you can get away with less investment on Shenhe, like mine is, and still do fine if your other characters are already invested. In this case, stacking more attack on Shenhe like you do in her normal role is fine, and tapping her elemental skill before going through her team's rotation works out fine. When Shenhe takes the field again and her elemental skill comes off cooldown, hold her elemental skill and burst to buff Shenhe. Rinse and repeat. The next team is one I like to call Shenhe. Shenhe is identical to Raiden Eula's team, but just replace Eula with Shenhe, and go about that as usual. This team plays the same as Taser, but you now have a healer and you lose the ability to freeze. But you are free to replace either Fish or Diona for a Hydro character if you still want to freeze things. The big difference here is that this team lets you get away with less ER on Shenhe thanks to Raiden. This could be the better team if you are not getting the right amount of ER rolls you need on your artifacts. Both of these teams, Shenhe works fine with either Homa, Vortex Vanquisher, or Jade Spear depending on what your stat needs are and availability. Crescent Pike and Dragon Spine Spear work just as well too, and are both free to play options. Finally, we have a pure main DPS Shenhe. Now, this one has a few combinations for teams, but a staple is Yinjin for that attack speed boost. After that, the choice is yours, but it's recommended that you bring an Electro character and another Cryo character to battery. A more free-to-play version of this is with Fish and Diona. Mika could also work, but I don't have him. If you want a more free-to-play version than this, Lisa actually works pretty well at C4, and her passive talent provides a nice defense shred to enemies. You can alternately maximize Yunjin's passive talent and go with a team without elemental resonance. In this case, I would recommend bringing Raiden back to help with the lack of a cryo battery. Something like this. For weapon, any crit weapon will work on Shenhe, just like the previous teams if you need more crit. However, I found that Dragon Spine Spear provides just what I need for the most part. The extra damage is also nice, especially at R5. With my more free-to-play friendly team, I maximize supporting Shenhe with a Fish equipped with a 4-piece Millilith to get a 20% attack boost, and Diona with Noblesse for another 20% attack boost. On top of that, Yunjin's Burst all comes down to a pretty significant boost to Shenhe on a full rotation. Shenhe herself has a few options for artifacts and really comes down to her teammates and weapon of choice. Either a 2-piece Bloodstained or Pale Flame, and 2-piece Attack is her best for something balanced, but I like to go with 2-piece Bloodstained, 2-piece Pale Flame for that extra physicality. 2-piece Attack and 2-piece Attack works just as well, and if you need a bit more ER, 2-piece Emblem can be your saving grace as well. Although Shenhe is built as a support for cryo DPS characters, Shenhe can take the DPS role quite well. As a cryo character that can lower physical resistance, a physical build works, but if you want to see her cryo DPS capabilities, you can subscribe to the channel and wait for that video to drop. But until then, that will be it for this one. Hope you have a great day, and until the next time, adieu and goodbye. Peace.